Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the APISD School Board of Trustees. Today is Monday, April 14th, 2025, and with the quorum of 6 of 7 trustees, I now call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock p.m. We will begin this evening with our pledges of allegiance. If Mr. Mullinex will lead us in that, and then our invocation by Mr. Rector.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Let us pray. My Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Knowing this is a day you have made, we all should rejoice and be glad. We thank you for the precious gift you have given us and our students and our staff. We ask your blessings upon us now as we prepare to celebrate the resurrection of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Knowing he arose on the third day with all power within the heaven and the earth within his hands. Now we ask your blessings upon this meeting, and we ask all these wonderful things in your powerful name. For Jesus' sake we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Mullinex, and thank you, Mr. Rector. Good evening, Ms. Hill. We are now at the portion of our meeting for public testimony. Do we have anyone who has signed up? List? Would you like to sign up? Oh, okay. Ms. Adame? Hold on just a moment. Ms. Adame, will you bring us the list, please? Thank you. Good evening. If you will, please just introduce yourself by your name, and then you will have 3 minutes.
My name is Isabel Flores. I am here for Miranda's Pass. I had to write it down because. Good evening, members of the board. I come before you tonight as a proud community member, a parent of students in this district, an employee of APISD.
It's okay.
You can do it. You can do it.
Take a deep breath and
Yeah, you can do it.
And someone who deeply loves Corinth's Pass. I'm here to strongly encourage you to consider and appoint Mr. Wayne Bennett as our next superintendent. Mr. Bennett has given countless hours and many years of dedicated service to his students and families of APISD. His commitment isn't just professional, it's deeply personal. He's chosen to plant roots here to invest in our town and to raise his family in this very community. He and Mrs. Bennett have proudly graduated 3 children from Miranda's Pass, with the 4th graduating this year. That kind of investment speaks volumes. We don't need a long search or more changes that unsettle our students, our staff, and our direction. We already have someone who understands our schools, believes in our mission, and has proven time and time again that his heart is with Aransas Pass. Mr. Bennett is not just an educator, he's a Panther through and through. I bleed purple. I love this hometown, and I believe our district deserves strong, steady, and sincere leadership. Let's invest in someone who has already invested so much in us. Just wanted to come and say that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're now at the portion of our meeting, just to remind folks that during public testimony, that's just the opportunity for the board to hear public comments, but not for us to, it's for us to stop, look, and listen, basically, but not for us to.
His positive attitude, responsibility, and commitment to making our school community stronger. Congratulations, Julian. Next up, we have Seth Swint. Seth is a 7th grader at AC Blunt Middle School. Seth always exemplifies what it truly means to have Panther pride. He consistently goes above and beyond, taking initiative to keep our campus clean. Whether it's picking up litter without being asked or setting an example of integrity and honesty in everyday actions, Seth leads by example and makes our school a better place for all. Thank you, Seth, for your pride, your positivity, and your commitment to our Panther community. You inspire all of us to do better and be better. Congratulations. Next up, we have Raina Scott. Raina is a senior at Aransas Pass High School. Raina is the type of student that you wish you could clone and have 100 of. She has an infectious smile, a wonderful spirit, and a hard work ethic. Her no-nonsense attitude is evident on the basketball court, where she led the Lady Panther basketball team this year as the only senior. She could often be found with the rest of the team around her, giving them the instruction that they needed to hear from their student leader. She is so much fun to be around and has an amazing future ahead of her. And this is why Raina Scott is the Aransas Pass High School April Panther of the Month. Congratulations. Next, we will move into our Employees of the Month. First up, we have Miss Clarissa Quintanilla. Miss Quintanilla is a counselor at Falk Elementary. She is an amazing counselor at Falk. She has been a pivotal part of our leadership team, always stepping up to support not only our students through meaningful guidance lessons, but also our staff and leadership. Her dedication, heart, and dependability make a lasting impact on our entire campus. We are so lucky to have her. Congratulations. Next up, we have Amanda Sides. I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I will correct this. Next up, we have Miss Haley Lucas. It's on this one, but this one is different. Okay. Miss Lucas is a 5th grade teacher and has been with the district for 11 years. She is an incredibly hard worker. She cares deeply about her students and does everything she can to help each and every one of them. She enjoys teaching and goes above and beyond to ensure her students grow. Thank you, Miss Lucas, for your dedication to the students at Charlie Marshall Elementary. I am so sorry. Next, we have James McClendon. Mr. McClendon teaches 7th and 8th grade video design and career explorations at AC Blunt Middle School. Mr. McClendon consistently goes above and beyond in his role. He demonstrates outstanding initiative by actively seeking opportunities to improve processes, while his thoughtfulness and attention to detail ensure the highest quality in everything he does. He is always ready and willing to lend a hand to administrators and colleagues, making a positive impact on the team. Thank you for your dedication, support, and unwavering commitment to excellence, Mr. McClendon. Next up, we have Miss Mandy Festervan. Miss Festervan teaches upper-level math to juniors and seniors and has been a dedicated Panther for 8 years. Her smile and love for her students is sometimes the only thing that gets them over the difficult information she teaches. Her favorite thing to do in a PLC is talk over Mr. Rome's head, which isn't hard to do when it comes to math, and throw out math terms that no one has ever heard of before. When asked about Miss Festervan, her students say she is the best part of their day. Miss Festervan can often be found working the book or gate at basketball and baseball games and drives long hours to watch her students perform in any athletic arena. She loves her school, she loves her students, and this is why Miss Festervan is Aransas Pass High School's Employee of the Month. Congratulations. Next up, we have Miss Cynthia Mann. Miss Mann is co-director of food services. Miss Mann brings positive energy and uplifting spirit to the central office and the school district. She effectively leads her team with the best interests of our students, staff, and district in mind. She is constantly finding programs to ensure our students have the best meals and making them as affordable as possible. At the same time, she effectively manages her budget to utilize her funds to enhance her cafeteria kitchens and spaces for students and staff. Thanks for supporting the Panther Nation, and congratulations, Ms. Mann. Next up, we have Mr. Bill Morcher. Bill is a hard worker. He shows up on time, ready to work every single day. He always has a good attitude going forward. I never have to worry about anything that needs to be done with his sped route. He is very self-sufficient, and he sets his own route and always keeps his parents informed. Congratulations, Mr. Morcher.
Thank you, Ms. Hill, and thank you, Mr. Galvan and Ms. Chapa. For this portion of our district recognitions, I'd like to invite our high school principal, Mr. Rhodes, to come up.
semifinals, where we lost a very close game to San Antonio Cole that we're still upset about. But we're gonna get over it at some point. I'm very, very proud of this gentleman's leadership. He's not only making basketball players, but he's making fine Christian young men, and we're so proud of him. So without further ado, I'm going to have Coach Hayes introduce the boys that showed up tonight.
The basketball team, a lot of them could be here, some are in baseball, some of them do other stuff. But they sent 2 representatives, Augustus Hayes and Jason Coronado. They're representing the rest of the basketball team that you can see up there: Frankie Santiago, Augustus Hayes, Connor Cortizio, Kai Chamberlain, Joey Figueroa, Garrett Bennett, there's Casey Coronado, Isaac Falcone, Joexo Hernandez, Mikey Adala, Ricky Rankins, Cameron Clough, and Victor Solomon, as well as the managers, Joe Rodriguez and all of them here. Like I said, you'll notice that there's only 2 seniors on that team, and so we're looking forward to the next 2 years. These guys here and some of the other ones are very committed to each other on this squad, and we're committed to each other, and we're real proud of that.
Good job, basketball.
We're gonna squeeze in here.
Turn sideways.
Got to turn sideways. Y'all turn this way.
So I'll get in there.
Kind of window in between.
There we go.
Hey, Josh, want to buy my hat?
Yes.
Cut you.
Ready, 1, 2, 3. Congratulations.
Wonderful.
All right, and next I get a very distinct honor and privilege to give a pretty prestigious award, and I'm not only giving one, but I'm giving 3. So a academic all-state team is a team that coaches around the state have to send in their kids for. So you have to meet a certain grade point average, you have to meet a couple of playing standards, and we are very, very fortunate that we have one of our girls who we're going to honor here tonight. We do have a couple of boys. Their certificates haven't come in, so we're going to honor them at the sports banquet. But we're very fortunate to have a young lady, and she was nominated to the academic all-state team by not 1, not 2, but 3 coaching organizations. And so if Raina Scott would join me up here to the front, and we've got some certificates. If Dr. Barnes, you want to help So she's getting the Texas Girls Coaches Association Award, she's getting the TABC Award, and she's getting that Texas High School Coaches Association Award. So we're very, very proud of her.
She doesn't have enough hands for all these awards. Turning.
There you go, perfect.
Congratulations, Raina.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. honor and privilege to recognize. At this time, it's my honor and privilege to recognize a colleague and co-volunteer on our APISD School Board of Trustees. He began his service and commitment to students and academic excellence back in 2001. He has served on the board multiple times for a total of 17 service years. During his tenure, he also demonstrated leadership as a school board former vice president and a former president. He also helped Panther Nation rally back in the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. Meanwhile, when the school board was implementing a bond program that brought Panther Nation a new high school, a new elementary school, new high school gymnasium, and new concession and restroom facilities at the district sports complex. So if you will please join me in congratulating and sending well wishes as we bid farewell to outgoing school board trustee, Mr. Victor Galvan. Sometimes when the trustees leave, they're not shy, but. So just as a token of our appreciation for your commitment and service to youth programs, not just here at the district, but we're doing this on behalf of the district, and we appreciate your service, and we wish you well, Mr. Galvan. Thanks again. One by yourself. And once again, on behalf of the board, congratulations to our outstanding students and employees. This is just a time when we can stop and recognize your continued efforts in a spirit of excellence. Students, we want to wish you well. We encourage you to keep on doing good and just being the best version of yourself that you can be. We're very proud of you, and congratulations again. We will take a pause. We know sometimes families want to take pictures, additional pictures. We also recognize it's a school night, and we appreciate the students being here. Several of them are involved in other activities, as our high school administrators and coach stated this evening. So we will pause to give you an opportunity to leave if you need to, but you're more than welcome to stay with us as we continue the school board meeting.
Is it me or is it? Is it hot in here?
You got a jacket on.
I've got a jacket on, but I'm not cold.
You got a jacket on. It is cold because Miss Butler's putting on her sweater.
She put a sweater on. Sister Judy.
We will now continue with our agenda. Next, we will have our superintendent's report, beginning with our enrollment and attendance. Dr. Barnes.
Thank you and good evening. I'm going to start off with our enrollment report for the month. Our district total right now is 1596. We've been staying around that number since started a new semester. We do have an pre-K roundup coming up, so we're hoping them to grab some more kids as they're registering for school. Our attendance is 92.75, which is getting close to 93, and we're going to keep working on that throughout the year, the remainder of the school year. And overall for the year, our attendance is running 92.49, so again, right at that 93 goal that we had set for ourselves early on. And our, like I said again, our enrollment is at 1596. In terms of the upcoming events, there's a listing of the calendar of events. There's a lot going on. As you saw tonight, we have kids a little bit everywhere. But our next up, we have a sports banquet coming up, the Torch Awards. May is going to be a real busy month, so there's a lot of things that you guys will be able to attend to support the students coming up real quickly.
Trustees, any questions or comments regarding enrollment and attendance and upcoming district events? If not, we will continue with our next item, which is our APISD strategic plan and business scorecard. This evening, we will have our curriculum director come. Oh, I am apologize. Let's, can you give her the mic? Is it working? Oh, it is. Okay.
You were loud enough the other night.
May have been a user error on my part.
I've never been called quiet. Is there a trick? There we go. Okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. Tonight we, as you know, we as a district have been working on our strategic scorecard. Thank you. I have my little clicker over there. And so the first one is about academics, curriculum, and our growth and what we have done to get where we are today. And so something you might hear a lot is HQIM, and that's our high quality instructional materials that we have implemented from K through 8 this school year. With using research-based instructional strategies, also known as RBs, if you might hear staff talk about that. We have implemented our professional learning communities, which is also known as an acronym for PLCs. Beginning of the year and middle of the year exams, common assessments, local assessments, walkthroughs, and learning walks. So all of these have definitely gone into, and we have spent a lot of time. And by doing these, our long-term goal is set for 2029, but we are making a slow progress as we get there. Thank you. So overall, we are seeing some gains in our reading and math. Some areas, some grade levels more than others, but we have seen some growth in each one and adjusted. So if you look at the data part, the campus principals and I have worked together and reviewed the data. They have talked with their staff. They've reviewed their master schedules. They've adjusted their master schedules throughout the school year. We've also utilized our ACE program, that's the 21st Century Grant that we have, and who are also helping us with our academic needs in reading and math. The teachers, I definitely want to make sure everyone knows they have put countless hours in this year to really move us forward into the direction that we need to go. And so definitely don't want that to go unnoticed. Okay, this is the actual scorecard, and if you'll see the green, that means we're meeting the current expectation. Yellow means it's in progress, and red would be no progress. So the good thing is you don't see any red, and so the ongoing progress for our growth will hopefully be green at some point, which means that we have met that long-term goal, and we have done a great job getting into the classrooms, the campus administration, district leadership as well, and the, implementing the common assessments, the learning walk checklist, things like that, and the PLCs. All right. We also, something that we are doing that goes along with this part of the scorecard is we have applied for the teacher incentive allotment, and that will be something that our staff will benefit from. And next year would be a data collection year, so it'll be one more year before they actually receive any funding for that. And then also, oh, back up real quick, sorry. It's okay. The last one is just, one of the grants that we did work under this year was the math planning framework. And so it has been submitted to TEA and we did receive a perfect score on that. And, it'll be on the website and we'll be implementing it there. And so that was something that we did K-12. Do you have any questions?
Trustees? Questions? Comments?
Have we disseminated that information to the staff that we've applied, or that we're going to do the teacher incentive allotment?
Yes, sir.
All the campuses know that?
Yes, we have gone to each campus throughout the year, and then once we get the official, we just sent the application in, so once we get the official, you've been approved, or things like that, then we will go back out to the campuses, and they'll see the phases and the rollout, because they'll be in different phases of who will be part of phase 1, year 1, phase 2, year 2, and so on.
Thank you.
Heather, just for the public's sake, will you tell a little bit about what the teacher incentive allotment actually is?
Okay, so teacher and correct me, Dr. Barnes, if I missed something, or Mr. Bennett.
I'm sorry if I threw you on the spot there.
So we have definitely been meeting as a team, Mr. and Mrs. Bennett both, and Dr. Barnes and I, with the application process. And so what that is we will start mainly in the STAR-tested subject areas, but there will be others as well. Eventually, all staff who are certified staff will qualify for this. And so you would have to show growth of your students from their STAR test that they took the previous year to the next year, and then also your T-test observation, which is going to be how they are evaluated by their campus administration. And that was one reason this school year we had went back and everyone was evaluated so that we could get on the same playing field, basically. So we did a calibration training. We have registered for a calibration training as the district leadership as well for this summer. And so it can, the amazing part of it is that they can get up to they just upped it.
They just increased it, so they have different levels. And so the lowest level, and I think it's if you move, like say 50% of your kids in your class, it's about $5,000. It goes up to like 60, I think it is. It goes to like 10. And right now the current high number is like 20,000. Legislature is putting in some new numbers, and they're looking to increase that even above the 20, again to 25, 30-ish. And so what happens when a teacher qualifies for it, they get it for 4 years. So once you get it, it's yours for the next 4 years. And the money comes from the state, so it won't incur an extra cost on the district. But what it's really focused on is making sure that we're focused on improving our student outcomes. So the more students they have that improve, and the more money that they'll receive from the teacher incentive allotment.
So when they hit the qualifier, then they get the funds for 4 consecutive years?
Yes, sir, for 4 years.
That's
Even
big.
if they move to another subject. So you say, hey, you did a really great job in second grade, but we have a real big need in first. Even if you move them to first to kind of help out, they will still get that money they earned for that year. And if we have any teachers we want to recruit, like if somebody, because based on your economic levels of your students, it varies from district to district and from school to school within your district. And so it's also going to be a recruitment tool for staff who are outside our district who may want to generate some more money to come in and, help with our student scores.
So that can be a big monetary windfall for them.
Oh, yes, sir, yeah. When they're
Awesome.
talking about if you get to if you're a teacher making 60 and you get another 30 on top, now you get 90% of it. That's another thing I did want to say too. 10% of it is like administrative fees that they have to take from it, and they get taxes taken out as well. But it's a big chunk that they would get.
Do we know how many local districts are participating in that in our surrounding area?
Yes, I think Ingleside, Gregory Portland, I think Taft.
Ingleside is applying
They're
this
applying
year.
this year? Okay.
Rockport Fulton ISD has already begun awarding. This
Gregory
is Taft
Portland
is collecting data this year, and Taft applied last year, so they're in their data collection year. Gregory Portland ISD is already, CCISD.
Already, yeah. So different districts in the area, and so our help, I don't know what to call her, but she was.
We do have a
we
contract
have a contract
person for the grant
helped us
that's
with the grant
assisting.
application, and she helped the surrounding districts who are already in those phases, and so we've been working with her for the past year. I think we've been meeting about every month or so with her, just kind of working through our plan to make sure we have everything that TA is going to want so we can get approved.
When was the application submitted?
April.
just last week.
Last week, yeah.
So once we hear back that we've been approved, I can come back, or Mr. Bennett, or any of us that have been working on the team can come back and present to y'all a summary of, yes, it's been approved and this is where we're going. Also, I just want to make sure I was clear. So even our teachers who are not at the STAR tested subjects will have common assessments or the M class or the NWA MAP testing that will be used as well. So everyone will have an opportunity.
And how long does the approval process take? Do we know?
Said we should know by sometime in May. It just kind of depends on where.
I was gonna say June 1st, so.
Well, it'd be
I'm
safe would be
thinking
probably
June 1st. I'm just thinking, speaking from experience when I did this in a previous district. But I feel like maybe it's faster now, so.
Awesome. It's good news.
Oh, yeah, no, it'd be great news if we get it. And so just to remember, the next year would be what they call a data capture year, kind of baseline. And then the following years will be to issue out any funds for anybody who's receiving it.
Good job, team.
Yes.
Very
Yeah, I want to
exciting.
just pass appreciation to all the teachers for the hard work and administrators for all the hard work you guys have been doing as far as implementing the curriculum to bring our test scores up, and hopefully we'll see the results at the end of the year that our efforts paid off. So, but I just want to let you know that administrators could pass to their staff that we appreciate all the effort that our teachers have put in.
And to add to that, just extending appreciation to our leadership team and our campus leadership as well for all those who helped us to get to this, launching our first scorecard. It took a lot, I know, for the district as a whole to invest the time to develop the strategic plan, to formalize it, and now we're launching the implementation of reporting. And so thank you for being our first. But, you know, it's curriculum, right? So we want to start, and that was the first objective. And we know that this is a great tool for the district in capturing, reporting, monitoring, evaluating, assessing, making adjustments, and it's all in one place now. So thank you to all of those that were part of the process, and of course those that are now implementing. And we know we still have work ahead of us, but it looks like that you all have done some great work in laying out the groundwork for this as we move forward as a district, and just continuing to do all that we can for our students, in knowing where we're at, where we're going, and how effectively we're helping. So thanks again. Any other board questions or comments before our director takes her seat? Okay, thank you. Our next agenda section is our financial reports. Ms. Chapa has provided the accounts payable report, budget status and investment report, and tax collectible report. Ms. Chapa.
The accounts payable report as of March 31st, total cash on hand is $5,637,000. Total expense for the month is $532,000. The budget report, total revenue received is $12,959,000. Total expense is $11,801,000. Keep in mind, it looks like a big surplus when you compare the revenue with the expenses, but there's 2 months coming along that we don't get funding from the state. So we are looking at the end having a balanced expenditure and revenue. Tax collections, we've received for the current month $184,687. That's at 89% collected. And for delinquent, we received $27,433. And then we have the quarterly investment report. Total interest earned for the quarter is $88,160. That's all I have for financial reports, if there's any questions.
Trustees? Any questions on the information presented for the financials? If not, also under our financial section, we have an item, informational item regarding preliminary budget planning for the upcoming 2025-26 school year. Ms. Chapa, we'll let you and Dr. Barnes take us through the preliminary budget planning.
All righty.
I'll do it.
We're fighting over who's gonna do it. So I'll just give you the summary, and Ms. Chopper can work on just some of the number details. But what we wanted to let you guys know, make you aware of, is that we're starting to work on, of course, the budget for next school year. The legislative session is moving along. Last week, the House passed their education bill. The Senate's already passed theirs. The bills are very similar in a lot of ways, and we're really anticipating an increase in our basic allotment. And so with that increase in the basic allotment, if you remember last October, we did a workshop based on information we received from TASB that showed us where our salaries were, what we needed to do to make them more competitive, and how much it would cost us. And at the time, we were able to do some of it. We were able to do the raises and the midpoints. And the remainder, we were going to plan to try to, as our revenue increased. And so what we're anticipating is that with the coalition of these bills, that additional revenue we would generate for the district, that we can go ahead and follow through what we talked about last October and make sure our auxiliary staff, our teachers, our instructional staff, we make those salaries competitive like we had initially planned. And we've included the model there that we were planning to follow, which is Model 1. And then hopefully with enough revenue, we'll also be able to do the increases that the state is also requiring of those salaries. So if everything goes as planned, you know, of course, you know, it's the legislature, so we still got to see. But we just kind of wanted to give you guys just some pre-information, just kind of let you know which direction that we were hoping the district could move in terms of salary increases based on an increase in our basic allotment. And some of the numbers Ms. Chopper's kind of listed there to give you guys an idea of what those increases will look like. And then she attached the TASB Model 1 for you as well.
The amount that is on the Model 1, we did give a 2% increase last year for pay raises with a 2% adjustment to the scales. But what we did not do is do the equity adjustment, and the cost of the equity adjustment is $222,526. This equity adjustment, if we start by implementing the new scales, many of these individuals do not even fall on the starting salaries. So we need to make equity adjustments to where they fall appropriately on the scales with the number of years of service that they have. That equity adjustment has not been accounted for. Since this presentation was October, we didn't include it in our budget for last year.
And one other thing too with the adjustments, it would allow us to then utilize the scales that TASB put together for us. So as we're bringing in new staff members, we'll have those the low, mid, high with the ranges. They developed a scale for our custodial staff, so that as we're bringing new people in, we can make sure there is equity within those pays. Create some consistency for it, but we needed to get the salaries at the right levels first before we started utilizing those new materials.
And the way the committee substitute of House Bill 2, the basic allotment used to be at $6,160, and that was since 2019. As of the last estimate, it looks like the basic allotment is going up to $6,555. So it's going to give us some additional funding to be able to pay for this adjustment. Plus, whatever additional funding we get, what the bill states is that 40% of it shall be applied to salary increases on top of the adjustment. A mandated pay raise with the additional monies of 40% shall be allocated for pay raises. Of that 40%, 75% shall be applied to teachers only for pay increases and the remaining 25% to the remaining staff. That's the current bill right now. It still hasn't passed the House, and all this is pending legislative finance bill to be passed.
It's looking good.
It's looking good.
So everything's kind of subject to change, maybe if, depends on what the House does when they vote the budget out.
It does
They're
seem.
pretty close, so that was good. It wasn't like the Senate's bill is way off from the House's bill. So hopefully when they get together to merge them, those pieces will carry through. So we're keeping an eye on them.
Trustees, any questions or comments? Although this is preliminary information, staff is updating and then also keeping an eye on what's happening at the state level. But any thoughts or comments this far on the information presented tonight or on the TASB model?
No, but just for the board's information, if you can always go on the website or whatever else and put your input into your state legislative representative to make sure that they're voting the correct way on supporting the public schools and the funds that are needed to do that. And the way to do that is let them know and hear from you. Your voice makes a difference. It made a difference last year, and hopefully it makes a difference this year. So.
Anything further on this item? Well, thank you, Ms. Chapa and Dr. Barnes, for giving us a preliminary or an early kind of preview, especially with that important area that, as a board, we want to address, which is the salary and equity of our staff. So thanks again. Our next item is discussion on proposed change of government municipal advisor. Dr. Barnes.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. And so our current government municipal advisor is Mr. Dusty Traylor with RBC Capital Markets. And what we're looking at is just to get some more help on the financial side as we're dealing with these changes in our tax rates, funding coming from the state. There's a lot of financial changes there. I reached out to him to see if he does, that long-term financial planning, and that wasn't something that he offered. And so we had been also looking at some other financial firms to see if these are services they offer and what are the costs and those things. And so what we have here is a listing of some of those additional services that come with Live Oak Financial. And so it's just we bring it to the board to bring this information to you so that you can be aware of those conversations and the why behind the potential of a change in our financial advisor.
So trustees, you have the comparison to give us as a district an indication of the additional services and costs. This is an informational item this evening. And so the materials provided gives you an example of what our current expenses and services are, and then what potentially additional services that the district would have access to at similar or lower cost. Anything further, Ms. Chapa?
In comparing both of the contracts, the fees is not apples to apples. We're only charged when when we issue debt obligation. But in comparing the fee schedules, RBC Capital charges $3,750 up front, and for $1 million bond issuance, they charge $13,250. So if we were to issue like $1 million bond, it would come out to $17,000. And then if you compare Live Oak's contract on an issuance of $1 million, their fee is $15,000. But there's a lot of other items that are in there that is not apples to apples, so it varies. But what Live Oak does is that they help with the preparation of the tax rates, so like Currently, on the INS, we have a defeasance payment of 8 cents. Some other school districts have larger amounts, and that's probably because of the planning, because in the future, they're looking at a bond election or a VAT election. We have 8 cents, so if we would have, when the tax rate on the M&O side was being, how do you say it, compressed from $1 to 69 cents, those 31 cents, many of the school districts put those 31 cents on the INS side. And we did minimal, we did 8 cents. But that would have, having somebody to assist us on long-term planning, of knowing we're going for a VAT election in the future or possibly a bond election, to have helped with planning the tax rate. Also, there's bills on the floor through legislation, possibly maximizing defeasance payments, possibly through a VAT election, that if a bill needs to pass with 60% and then the following year with 80%, there's just so many bills. There's 9,000 legislative bills, some of them pertaining to finance. And it's hard for the finance director to be keeping up with them. So it's better to have like a second set of eyes, a financial advisor, to be helping with the tax calculations and also doing long-term planning on the tax rate on both the INS and the M&O side of the preparation of the tax rate. Our current provider, I know he's been with us a long time. I believe he was with one company and then he changed to another company, but we may have followed him from one company to another. But his expertise is just in the issuance of debt and issuing debt whenever we need to finance something, not necessarily in the preparation of the tax rate. So we're looking to seek more services for the amount of money that we pay when we issue debt obligation. If there's any questions or if I could explain it.
Now, the additional services that the district would benefit from that are not currently available with the current advising firm, going with another firm like the example that you've given us tonight, would that firm charge us more money in providing those additional services that our current advisor is not able to provide us?
No, they would not. It would be, they only get paid only when we're going out for a bond or going for a maintenance tax note. There's no additional fee. That would be more or less a comparison of the 17,000 and the 15,000
Okay.
that I stated earlier.
And so that additional support for long-term financial planning, are there options and possibilities that the district would have access to in the planning process and being able to finance and be able to get in a better position to maximize that, because our current firm does not offer those services, we'd have to find them elsewhere, is what I'm hearing. Okay.
The current company, Live Oak, represents about 130 municipalities. Some of the neighboring ones are Goliad ISD and Rockport ISD within the area.
Trustees, any other questions or comments?
Are there any concerns that you have about or reservations about changing to this company that has a little bit more complex of an offering for us? Is there any hesitations at all?
No,
No,
I mean, we've talked to a couple, just trying to, weigh them against each other, not say against each other, but where the service is provided,
Okay.
right, based on our needs.
Well, if there are no other further questions or comments on this item, thank you, Ms. Chapa. Thank you, Dr. Barnes. Our next item on the agenda next section is board updates and topics for future meetings. The first item, announcement of board training hours. And as required, I have the statement that must be read in tandem with announcing the training hours. Under State Board of Education rule, completing required continuing education each year of service is a basic obligation and expectation of any sitting board member. As board president, I'm required to announce the name of each member who has completed the required continuing education, has exceeded the required continuing education, and is deficient in meeting the required continuing education. There are 8 training areas for board member continuing education included in this announcement. 1, local district orientation. 2, orientation to the Texas Education Code. 3, post-legislative update to the Texas Education Code. 4, team building. 5, additional continuing education. 6, evaluating student academic performance and setting goals. 7, identifying and reporting abuse, trafficking, and other maltreatment of children. And 8, school safety. This annual announcement does not cover any open government and cybersecurity training required for trustees under other law. To the extent applicable to each board member, I will announce the completion or deficiency as to required training. At the conclusion of this announcement, I will announce any board member's training in excess of continuing education requirements. Local district orientation. This is a requirement for new board members. No new board members were required to complete local district orientation training for the time period covered by this announcement. Orientation to the Texas Education Code. This is a requirement for new board members. No new board members were required to complete orientation to the Texas Education Code training for the time period covered by this announcement. Post-legislative update to the Texas Education Code. No board members were required to complete post-legislative update to the Texas Education Code training for the time period covered by this announcement. Team building. The entire board and the superintendent must participate in the annual team building session. The following board members were deficient in the annual team building training. I believe at the time that this was prepared, we all were, but we did have a team of 8 training last week. But as required by law, I have to read the report as presented. The entire board and superintendent must participate in the annual team building session. The following board members were deficient in the annual team building training: Juanice Butler, Delfino Flores, Victor Galvan, Olivia Hill, John Mullinex, David Rector, and Terry Stansberry. Additional continuing education. The following board members have completed the additional continuing education requirements: David Rector, Delfino Flores, John Mullinex, Olivia Hill, Terry Stansberry, Juanice Butler. The following board members have exceeded the required additional continuing education hours: David Rector, John Mullinex, Olivia Hill, Juanice Butler. The following board members are deficient in meeting the additional continuing education requirements: Victor Galvan. Evaluating student academic performance and setting goals. The following board members have completed the biennial training on evaluating student academic performance and setting goals: David Rector, John Mullinex, Olivia Hill, Terry Stansberry, Juanice Butler. The following board members are deficient in meeting the required biennial training on evaluating student academic performance and setting goals: Delfino Flores, Victor Galvan. Next, identifying and reporting abuse, trafficking, and other maltreatment of children. The following board members have completed the biannual training on identifying and reporting abuse and trafficking: David Rector, Delfino Flores, John Mullinex, Olivia Hill, Terry Stansberry, Victor Galvan, Juanice Butler. The following board members are deficient in meeting the required biannual training on identifying and reporting abuse and trafficking: none. School safety. The following board members have completed the biannual training on school safety: Terry Stansberry, Victor Galvan, Juanice Butler. The following board members are deficient in meeting the required biannual training on school safety: David Rector, Delfino Flores, John Mullinex, Olivia Hill. Next, exceeding required continuing education. Juanice Butler. Board member Juanice Butler exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 16.5 additional hours. That concludes the required statement annually for the APISD School Board of Trustees. Any questions or comments? If we could have a clarification, or if you could check on the team of 8, updating the record for the school year. Thank you. Next up is our informational update on the board's calendar of activities that was provided to you by Dr. Barnes. I believe we don't have any updates so far for this month, unless someone has anything this evening. Should you think of something later, then just please forward it to myself and Dr. Barnes. Next item, TASB feedback on naming facilities and memorial designations. Our subcommittee of Mr. Molinex and Mr. Galvan had worked to get us to a point of a policy as requested that went to TASB for review to their policy team. They did not have an already established policy on this. They also had received inquiries by other school districts, not just us. And so they did formulate some they did prepare some templates as samples to share out with ISDs who had made inquiries. So their samples have been provided for your review. And feedback or comments on what TASB has provided as samples. I'll yield to Mr. Molinex and Mr. Galvan for any further thoughts or comments, as they were gracious to serve on the subcommittee.
I mean, the ones we had done were a lot more comprehensive, I think, than the ones that TASB put out. TASB's policies are like 1 page, and ours are 4 or 5 pages long, which gives you a little more explicit instructions, a little more detail on items that the TASB policies leave a lot of open ends, I think, that they don't cover, that our local policy that we submitted up to them. So my recommendation is wait to see what TASB, we sent the deal up for TASB review, is wait to see what they come back, if any suggestions on that when we send up to them to review and make comments on.
And that was one point that they made, is that to give us the opportunity to use their abbreviated samples, or to have them continue on with what we presented. A more in-depth policy to provide instructions to our community. Any other thoughts or questions at this time, trustees?
I have a question. So
Yes.
so we've sent ours that you and Mr. Galvan have worked on. We sent that to TASB, and we're waiting for their feedback on that, correct?
So what they did in the meantime, because they were receiving inquiries from other ISDs as well, is they wanted to at least provide something for ISDs to follow. We already had something.
Right.
We already had crafted a draft policy for
Right.
them to review. And so I don't know if necessarily the other school districts had done so.
Okay.
And so what they did is when in receiving inquiries, because they did not have a template to provide everyone initially, so now they do have these samples.
I got you. I was just making sure that that was what that was, and not that we sent ours and they said, we recommend doing this 1-pager instead. That's what I was just trying to clarify, that it wasn't their recommendation to keep it simple versus the detailed layout that we had provided. That's all.
So they did talk about, an administrative process, policy, and if there's anything that we wanted to distinguish between processes. So,
Okay. That's fair.
so it's still at our board's discretion, and we can have them continue with the draft proposed policy that we had initially submitted to them. But since there were, like I said, since there were other ISDs making inquiries and they needed something to follow, ours wasn't adopted as a model or anything at this point. They're still reviewing it, or still will need to finish reviewing it.
That's perfect, because I know this mostly just mentions kind of new schools, and the work that they did encompassed so much more than that with our complexes
Yes.
and the different types of facilities, and then other things that we may, when we have memorials and dedications and things. So
Right,
I
so-
just wanted to make sure.
You're correct. Ours actually laid out the process for anybody in our community who wanted to request the district consideration. So that's something that our subcommittee and district has taken already into consideration.
Okay.
Any other thoughts or questions, trustees? So once TASB finalizes the review of the APISD format, then we'll bring that back for board consideration. Any final tweaking before it becomes an action item.
Okay.
Next, we have the Summer Leadership Institute, just again, informational. This is something that is coming up. It will be in San Antonio and also in Fort Worth. I believe we may have had one or two trustees expressed an interest. So if this is something that we want to do, I believe the San Antonio Institute is, registration's going to open this week, correct?
I think so.
On the
Yeah, in a
16th,
couple days.
yes, Wednesday. Okay. So is there anyone who would like to be considered for the San Antonio SLI or the Fort Worth? Or even doing in lieu of a fall conference? And this way, staff can look at that in terms of the budget. So it's just opening, the San Antonio Institute's just opening this week. And so if you do have an interest, if you will please let Dr. Barnes know and copy Ms. Adame
Okay.
in terms of any accommodations and cost and preparations. Any comments at this time or questions about SLI?
Well, I know some of our members went to the SLI, you know, I mean, they could provide us maybe some, yeah, did you go, Terry? You went there, didn't you, last year?
No.
Oh, you didn't go to that one? You went, right?
I've gone. I went last year, and I will say, if compared to like the San Antonio conference that we did in the fall, and compared to usually the because sometimes the fall conference is Dallas, it's a lot less crowded. I felt like it was a lot more informational. Like, they just get straight down to business. It was really easy to navigate, even just getting in and out if you didn't want to stay right there at the hotel or whatever. So I felt like I've learned more at that conference in particular than I have at some of the bigger ones, just from the depth of the information. Is way more one-on-one and conversational, so you really get to ask those questions, and it's really concentrated board members who are focused on what they're trying to learn, whether it's budget or board operating or whatever that you're trying to get from that. They also provided a ridiculous amount of templates, like everything that we've gone through. I know you guys are probably sick of me saying, like, oh, they mentioned this at Summer Leadership, and you can contact such and such and get this. So I do think if you want a slower paced conference, that's nice. It was really well set up, clean, beautiful. I highly recommend Summer Leadership. And as we're just public speaking, as we have new board members who will be coming onto the board as well, I think that would be I wish I would have done this my very first year as a board member, because it really packed in all those things that you kind of just get thrown right into with budget season right after election, and going through conversations about things that you probably didn't even think about when you were running for school board. So I do think it's a really good conference if anybody is interested.
And by the way, the fall conference will be in Houston, I believe, this year.
Oh.
Anything further on SLI? Okay. At this time, we will take any requests for future topics. Any this evening? If not, then we will move on to our consent agenda, which is consider and approve the minutes of the regular meeting on March 24th, 2025. Minutes are before you in your packets. Upon your review, and when ready,
Move we accept the minutes as written. There's no corrections.
motion by Mr. Stansberry to approve the minutes as written of the regular meeting on March 24th, 2025. Do we have a second for approval?
Second.
Second by Mr. Mullinex. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. We are now at our action agenda. First item is consider and approve the district logo. So I'm going to ask Dr. Barnes to speak about this. I know that there have been a working committee on this and the efforts of that and recommendations from that committee. We have some samples for us. Dr. Barnes.
Thank you. So what we have in front of us is the accumulation of a couple of months of work put together by a committee, putting a process together. We wanted to look at just our branding, our logos, trying to create some consistency across the district. And so we put it out to our students and staff for submission of an original logo for the district as a possibility moving forward. The logo that met all the criteria came from one of our high school students, and the rendition Mr. Dame's sharing with us, and it is a panther head, very serious panther head. And Ms. Miller was able to work with the student on some of the other imaging pieces that you can see so that it would allow us to put it on multiple surfaces and backgrounds and so this is that kind of that final product. The last two has been a existing logo that was done by a staff member a few years ago, and that's the We Are AP. And so the goal here would be is that if the board accepts the logos as submitted, we would then work to get them copyrighted so that we could have some control over their usage. Not so much, for us moving forward, it would be, hey, these are the colors, these are the images we want to use, but to prevent people from using it in a malicious way. And that's probably what that copywriting piece of it is. But yes, it's a lot of work just trying to get that consistency of the branding across moving forward. And as we mentioned before, we're not asking to make this change and then go back and take everything down that we currently have, but moving forward, it would create when they're ordering shirts, hats, just different things with the logos on it, it would have the new logo on it. And the colors will be standardized as well. And with the board's approval, we'll create a page on our website so anybody will have access to the color patterns, and also the logos, the vectors, to make sure it's gonna look good.
Trustees, any comments or questions for Dr. Barnes or Ms. Miller?
After, if the logo is approved, will we be doing anything special for the student who designed it?
Yes, ma'am. We just had some conversations about that today.
And also the color scheme on the panther head, there's different variations of that. So this is going to cover all those variations or just one standard color?
No, so so some of the others that have the different, what do you call it, Liz? Kind of that skeleton, so like if you put it up against like a purple shirt, then you can use one, it'll have the same image, but it'll be, I think Blaze explained it to me well, like it's kind of like the Yukon Huskies. The Husky stays the same, has their same basic colors, but if it's on a white shirt, you can use one for the white shirt. If it's on a purple shirt, you can use one for the purple shirt. The gold, just so those other images are of it. And then, of course, the We Are AP would stay pretty consistent.
That's our colors anyway.
So it depends on, it's gonna be varying colors, it's not gonna be one standard color. It could be that one right there, it could be the all purple.
Yes, yeah, because that's the same purple, it's just that it has the yellow.
Yeah, but it's got
Gold
yellow
with it,
highlights
yeah.
on it. So the different highlights on it's gonna be, it's gonna be different
It
variations.
can be different, yeah. Same Panther, just has the color scheme's a little different.
So it's gonna stay consistent, purple and gold, right?
Yes.
Every design has the same color codes on it, so it may look different because of contrast, but it is the same purple and gold.
Same purple and gold on each one.
So, one of the issues we've had in the past is consistency, right? That's why where we landed, correct? So how do you ensure the consistency is gonna be there? Because you have campuses that decide they wanna print something, athletic departments, teams. How are you gonna ensure that all the hard work y'all have done is not for naught? And
Yes.
we go down this road and we go down the road that we're going.
Yes, so, okay, I want to speak to this a little bit. So we have a district-wide Canva account. Canva is really fantastic, and it's a program for creating flyers and things for the internet. I mean, things for your website. You can create anything digital that you can think of on Canva. And Canva is fantastic because they allow districts to have an educational license for your entire district for free. So every single district employee in the entire district has access to this. On that Canva account, we'll have what's called a brand kit, and it will include templates that they can use for making flyers for things on social media, and that'll include our color codes, so that way they click the color code, they don't find a purple, they have an exact purple, they find the exact gold. It'll have our logos, all the different applications of our logos, so that way we have that consistency in messaging and branding when we're putting out those. And then, of course, I'm here, so if anybody has any questions or doesn't know, what to use, what's the best way, do I want to put this purple logo on top of a purple background? No, let's not do that. So that I'll be able to be here to assist people in making sure that the application is consistent in branding to make sure we look professional and we have consistency in our visual branding.
A good example, Miss Cindy is ordering some tables for Charlie Marshall, and so she's been kind of, the people she's working with, they've been waiting to see if we got it approved, because if so, then they could use that with those tables. And so if it gets approved, we're gonna make sure, and Blaze is real good about, saying no. But just trying to make sure, because our big departments like athletics, they purchase a lot, some of the campus things, but just really getting the message out, all the principals are here, that they all know that, hey, moving forward, like these are our guidelines that we want to follow. And with our organizations, our athletic booster clubs, band, like everybody, we'll be to share out and say, hey, this is what we've come up with, what the board has voted on, and so to create that consistency, this is what we want to do moving forward.
And as Dr. Barnes stated, we'll also have this available on our website with the branding kit for anyone in the public sector. We have some vendors that like to create spirit shirts and spirit clothes and things like that. And I know some districts do have a licensing agreement, and that is something that I think we could work to in an eventual case. I don't know if we need to do that right up front. Some districts charge for that. I think we can work our way up to that. But we will have that as a branding kit available for those who want to create brand images for people wanting to come to the football game and they want to wear their Panther shirt. We say these are the correct colors, this is the correct application of our logo on different backgrounds, just to make sure that people are using, if they're applying branding, that they're using it correctly.
Yeah, and just for information for Dr. Barnes and yourself, Blaze, I know you were here, Victor, and so you, Terry, I think, and so you, David. About a number of years back, there was a big conflict on the color of shirts and that, so the board set up some guidelines on exactly what colors that the spirit shirts can be. So, I just want to make sure you're aware of that, so the sponsors are aware of that as well. So it'll go through that of having every color under the sun out there.
Yes,
so.
sir. Yeah, we've been really trying to make sure get that tightened up. And there's only some little variations, I know with some products.
Right.
The color coding is hard, but we want to try to standardize it as much as possible.
Yes, I mean, there will be some applications, like if you have embroidery, well, they only have certain thread options available. I mean, if we have it to where we can specify the color depending on the product that you're getting, we will specify it, but obviously, depending on the application, we say, please, let's just get as close as we can. Usually we'll say things like, we want, if you can't get us this exact purple that we had this CMYK or RGB or whatever color code, can we get like Lakers purple or Vikings purple? You know, getting close to that thing that's like a larger brand that's known nationwide, trying to get really close to that Michigan University, that gold maize yellow. So get really close to it to where when you're having a product like a t-shirt or a hat that may not have that exact digital product, getting very close to where we're making sure we're consistent in our brand image, our visual branding.
Well, I appreciate that the kit will include the different outlining and in consideration of various backgrounds and materials that will be used, where you won't have someone grabbing the original purple-filled logo and then trying to modify it themselves.
Right,
So
exactly.
that idea of a kit is seems that will help make it easier for people to cooperate with the
Yes.
district in terms of the district's official colors.
And then we'll also have it to where these images will be, you know, high quality vector images. So I know that we've had sometimes when we've worked with companies in the past that they said, can you send us a vector of your Panther logo? We don't have one. I can give you one with a transparent background, but that doesn't blow up really nicely. It gets pixelated. It's not really fine detail. So this will be a lot better as far as quality when we're sending it to our vendors to create products for us.
Trustees, any other questions?
I have one.
Yes.
I love that you guys are using Canva because it's just so simple and it is a
User-friendly.
really nice product. Will you be utilizing like the approvals features in there for some of the bigger purchases? Not when a teacher wants to make a flyer, obviously, but once we start talking about uniforms and different things like that, where it would come back to us if it was bad.
So Canva, the approval, like as far as purchasing and print products on Canva, that's not something that
That you
that
plan on
is available.
utilizing. Yeah.
That we can do that at the district level, we can purchase print products, but Canva at the district-wide level, that's just for digital application.
Yeah, no, I meant the inside of Canva where it's like approve this design and it shoots it back to the administrator. We use it in our office too, and it's just like a little, I approve this for you to push it to Facebook or whatever.
Yes, we have that at the, so we don't actually have our Canva linked to our socials, but we do have that capability where you can have it tiered, where you have an admin and the campus user. On our ThrillShare application to push to our socials and our website, that is also tiered. So that way, if a user level, they have where the campus administrator can approve it before it goes out.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. Anything else for Ms. Miller on this?
I've got a question.
Yes, Mr. Stansberry has a question.
These logos, is this being presented as is to approve, or is this just a drawing or sketch of?
I mean, this is the final rendering, the final version.
Well, I've got a question then on the final rendering. I don't know what program was used, but I don't know if the cat needs pointed ears or whatever. I mean, like the chin needs to be rounded and not pointed. I mean, just being nitpicky at the logo itself. I don't know what anybody else thinks about that, but I think a little bit more rounding would be better than pointed.
A little more what?
Well, the ears are pointed. If you look at it the way it's drawn.
He's suggesting that the ears be more rounded,
More round.
less of a point.
You know, like I say, it may be the program, I don't know.
And then what about the chin?
Yeah, if you look down at the chin, if you blow it up, I mean, you got 3, 4 triangles or whatever pointed at the bottom. It's not completely round.
I believe that was a design choice.
I'm just asking. I mean, once we approve it, we ain't gonna be able to change it, so.
Right.
They're getting nitpicky now, about a year from now. I think it looks great, don't get me wrong, but I'm just,
You see if the ears can be,
well, yeah.
The ears should be rounded. All the Panthers' ears are rounded. I agree, it's a little pointing for a Panther, but, and up there, the colors of purple and the gold, like on my tablet right now, I'm looking at the colors, and gold actually looks gold, and the purple looked like a deep purple, where up there it looked a little off color, a little yellow and a little.
And that'll depend on the device that you're viewing the
Yeah.
logo on, but the color codes are the exact color codes of our purple and gold.
And I kind of like that, the purple and gold going back with our school colors, and that to me is more like it. But like for a long time, we had that blow up on the fields, and it looked more like a rat than it did a panther for a very long time. Yeah, and everybody would say, I
We're
thought
not trying to
y'all were-"
perpetuate that. We're trying to leave that back there.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of that
Everybody would
image.
tell us that, so I understand what Terry's trying to say. We gotta, I would like that if we can round the ears off, it'd be a more Pantherish looking.
I don't know about the program, I don't know what kind of program.
I mean, it's made on Adobe. I mean, you can make anything you want in the world with it, so.
Well, I'm used to Corel Draw, so. It's just an observation, what do y'all think?
So, on the design, was it to get a more realistic animal type look? When we talk about like the ears and the nose, yeah.
just around the ears, the top of the ears off.
Just cut the tip off.
Cut
I
the
don't
tip
think
off.
it looks like the other animal as referred to in the past. I still think it looks like a panther.
It's gonna look really good too when you put it on a hat or a shirt, 'cause the way it's front facing. It's gonna come out really nice.
I know, but some goals that we had for the design when we were working with the student, he gave us a rendering, and so we were working with him, and we said we want it to be symmetrical. We wanted it to be forward-facing, so that way if you have an application we talked about was on a football helmet. So regardless of which side on the helmet it's going on, it's not going forwards or backwards. It's symmetrical, it's going straight out. So those were some design cues that we gave him, the student.
And I think to Mr. Flores' comment about whether it's purple or gold, I think these are just different presentations of the logo in the event that, let's say you're going to use a yellow shirt or cap, then you could do this in purple without the yellow getting lost in a yellow shirt.
And you also have applications where you only have one color that you can choose. So sometimes
some
a vendor
printing.
said, I only can do a single color application. So we would do a solid color Panther instead of doing a multicolor. It just depends on the instance that you're using the logo.
Most of the shirts we use are usually white or purple. So even if you use that logo in the white or purple, it'll still come out. I have a baseball shirt that's all in yellow, and everybody asks me, where'd you get that shirt? That was when my kid played. And that was a few years back. And it says life is baseball. And everybody was asking me when I wore it to a baseball game, hey, where'd you get that? Where can we order that? Well, you'd have to go back about 20 years.
So one option may be if there's some concern about the ears, of possibly asking for a rendering with the rounded like they're asking, and then possibly bring it to the next board meeting where you have them side by side. And maybe after the rendering comes out, we decide we don't like the round, we like the original one. Would
Like
there
the
be,
curving one.
what's the likelihood of going back to the student and changing that with that request?
We can ask him, yes, for sure. Yeah, he's
I mean,
been
if a couple
really
trustees have that concern,
very
I think-
talented, so I would
I think
not
we-
see that be an issue.
We could delay it for another month.
I think it looks good. You meet the purpose, whatever, but
I do know that the cafeteria tables at the high school are pending whether or not this was approved tonight, whether they were going to be able to order them with a Panther logo on them. So just FYI, I'm not trying to pressure you, but
What order is that?
the new cafeteria tables at the high school to get the design mock-up solidified. I believe that Miss Cindy planned on bringing those to the May board meeting for board consideration to do the new dining room tables. And so they wanted to include a Panther logo on that. So
But that
I
order's
know
gonna be approved at the next board meeting?
that would be something that would be at the next board meeting, should be bringing
Seems like they
back.
should be able to
So-
give the vendor both options of that and be able to approve it with the option that the board approves that night. I mean, it's not being approved tonight. Tables aren't being approved tonight. They have to
Correct,
come
right,
back.
right, mhm.
So you could put either rendering on it at that point. The order still has to be processed.
Right.
Yeah.
Trying to look and see how he's looked.
And so, for clarification on that request to have rounded ears, was that the interior, exterior, or both of the ear? I think it was just, the thing is to have it, it is a very angular design, so.
I mean,
I'm
the
just-
jaw is, it's the,
Well,
I think it's the
I mean,
jaw. The whole thing has those angular cuts all the way around instead of just a round.
It looks nice,
it's
but
like a skull.
something about it, I don't know.
It's got 3 points in it.
Don't,
Not rounded. They is. I mean,
I think that's intentional, though, with the design from what you said, to make it look different than another forward-facing panther from another mascot. So your question is, in losing some of the point on the ears, is it just the
Right, so
the
there's.
outer or the inner as well? I think you would have to maybe do both. Let's see what the artists. Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, guys. I've never paid this much attention to the panther ears ever. I'm over here Googling my little life away for panther ears.
All right, well, based on our discussion,
A lot of them are side profile, so it's really
it's hard to tell.
it's really hard to tell, and they're pointy side profiles. A lot of them, like Pittsburgh, and I was just looking at different colleges. I looked at the NFL. I was just going down the rabbit hole here, but so I get it. Like the one on the water tower is kind of pointy but roundy. That sounds crazy to say out loud, but I can see some rounding to it, I guess. I don't know. They look like cat ears to me, but
Well, if you actually look
That's
at
the-
it, you also put some whiskers on it too.
He actually had brought the original design to us with whiskers, but we said that for applications, we want it to be very simple, so that way it is a clear design, even if it's very, very small. So we
Okay.
wanted to avoid something that's too extremely detailed, because we want it to look good in any application. So if it has a lot of detail, it won't look good when it's very, very small.
especially something that's thin and a
Like a
different color,
whisker, you
like a
would lose
whisker.
it. Mm-hmm.
You put it on pencils and
And then if you have a thicker whisker, then that puts, no, we're the, yeah, we're catfish territory, so.
so we can bring it back with the ears rounded. Just
Okay. So do we, based on the conversation tonight, do we have a motion to move forward or to table? What is your pleasure?
Make a motion to
Motion to
table
table.
it, table it.
Okay,
Second it.
so we have a motion by Mr. Mullinax to table, and second by Mr. Galvan. Any further discussion? And let me just say that the student has done some tremendous work, and we appreciate him bringing some, or creating something that would be unique for Aransas Pass. that our logo would not look like anyone else's logo. And we would just ask that if he could please maybe just curve off a little bit of the ears as discussed tonight, and it can come back to the board. Okay. Any other discussion, trustees, on this item? Mr. Stansberry, did you have something?
Well, just look at the whole thing. I mean, there's other places that could use a little bit more rounded than points,
Okay.
unless I'm blind.
What are those, so that way we can give the
So,
student an
Are
opportunity?
you requesting that the
Look at the
entire
chin, look at the
design be
cheek.
rounded instead of angular? Is that what is? Is that what we're, so the exterior of it or the whole
The
design?
exterior,
Okay.
if you look at the cheeks and the chin, it should be more rounded instead of points, I would think.
Trustees, anything else? Any other discussion, feedback?
I don't want him to be a chunky panther. I like the fierce cut
You-
of the
if you like it like
jawline.
it
it
is
gives
here,
it a
go ahead and
little,
approve it. I'm
like
just
a,
pointing it out.
yeah. I feel like
I'll
it.
vote
It
for it
looks
either way.
fierce. Like it looks like you don't want to mess with that panther. Like it's got some viciousness to it. It's got a little attitude. It's not just a cat that I want to pet. It's something I want to stay away from. It looks like it might bite me. It's got a little fear to it. I don't know. I don't know. I prefer a strong mascot that promotes that, get out of my way kind of look. So for me, I kind of like a striking, a little jawline, personally. But I don't know. I'm a dog person, guys. I don't know.
So for the sake of time, since we do have a motion on the floor to table and a second to table, and there's discussion on a less angular outlining of the artwork thus far. If there's no further discussion, all in favor of the motion on the floor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay.
Nay.
Motion carries. Thank you. Our next item, let's see here. Did I move it over? I just flipped it to the Panther. Okay. Our next item is consider and approve vision and mission statements. Trustees, we had this as informational item last meeting. We are now at the point of it as an action item. Again, to restate the proposed mission statement, our mission is supporting and inspiring our students in their pursuit of excellence with purpose, passion, and pride. The vision statement is ignite every student's potential. Any comments or questions? Further suggestions?
I have a question.
Yes.
And this is actually for Ms. Miller. As our communications director, what are your thoughts on the mission and vision with your marketing? Because they essentially will tie in together.
I mean, we're still reiterating that motto, purpose, passion, pride. So I think that that still carries over with our voice that we have been creating. You know, that's still consistent with that. I say it's pretty consistent with the voice that we've been trying to cultivate. So I know that the word ignite, we're talking about using that for convocation for this next coming school year, using ignite. Still creative flowing on that, but yeah, it's still, I think it, it flows in well with the voice of aspect of the brand.
Okay. Perfect. I just wanted to ask, I know you've been working hard on your marketing plan and what that looks like and the different communication pieces, and we've been pulling the logo and the colors and everything else in, so I just wanted to make sure we got your input on that as well.
Trustees, any other questions or comments regarding the mission and vision statements? If not, what is the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion, we consider and approve the vision and mission statement.
Second.
If we could, if you could clarify, is your motion to consider or your motion is to approve? You just want to?
Approve.
Motion to approve, okay. So we have a motion by Mr. Mullinax to approve the mission and vision statement as presented. We have a second by Mr. Rector. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Congratulations to our teams and our campuses who contributed in developing the new mission and vision statement for APISD. Our next item on the action agenda is to consider and approve trustee nominations for Region 2 position on the TASB board. They're requesting nominations for any trustee from our district. The incumbent is seeking re-election, but if there's any trustee who's interested, they're doing this earlier this year, and the deadline will come before our next regular meeting. So that's why it's on the agenda tonight as an action item. In your packets, you have the forms, and if there's any trustee who would like to be considered as the Region 2 board member, then we would need to act as a board to nominate that person. So I will open up the floor for any trustee nominations for the Region 2 position on the TASB board.
Is anyone interested?
None? Due to a lack of nominations, I will close the floor for nominations. All right. As there are no nominees, then there is no action to approve. All right, then. So we will now move on to our next item on the agenda, which is to convene an executive session as authorized by the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.001, concerning any and all purposes permitted by the Act. Section 551.074, personnel, contract recommendations of administrators, teachers/coaches, other certified personnel, and non-certified personnel.